This conversation about key distribution websites has been in the works for a long time and required a lot of effort to complete. And no, we are not discussing what some of you might be thinking, that being websites like G2A or Kingwin. Instead, we are talking about legitimate platforms that collaborate with developers and publishers to help get their games into the hands of active and dedicated creators. Whether through paid deals, review opportunities, or simply a promote it if you like it approach, these websites play a significant role in increasing the visibility of games beyond the efforts of popular streamers, YouTubers, and corporations that can advertise their own work. Over the years, I've had mixed experiences with various websites as they have appeared and disappeared. Some experiences have been frustrating, while others have been very impressive. Having the opportunity to work closely with community managers, public relations teams, studios, and publishers alike, I've gathered a few insights worth sharing from both a content creator's perspective and the insights from developers, publishers, and other creators who have agreed to speak out on this matter. To provide a broader understanding, I contacted various sources of different sizes to collect their insights on their personal experiences. Unfortunately, the list of those who did respond was relatively small, as many chose not to participate due to the fears or policies regarding discussions about their business models. Whether you're a new content creator seeking new games to cover or an indie developer trying to ensure that your titles reach creators who will play it rather than hoarding it for their Steam accounts or reselling it on websites, I believe the information that I've gathered may be helpful to you. Distribution websites are simple in function. A publisher or a developer works with a mediator who has direct access to hundreds or even hundreds of thousands of content creators across various platforms, regions, and languages with just a few clicks of a button. Some platforms utilize well-organized spreadsheets to filter out irrelevant requests, while others have nothing like that. These websites promote games to creators who have signed up to their website, charging subscription fees and one-time payments to the publishers and developers while allowing the ability to distribute game copies to a range of acceptable content creators, from those with low view counts to those with large audiences. This oftentimes grants the ability to assess whether a game deserves coverage on a specific channel based on the stats, and how likely somebody is to fulfill the obligations. Unfortunately, that can also be a walk in the dark due to the many underlying issues. Based on my experiences, I find it astonishing how many content creators put in minimal effort, often requesting games for resale purposes or merely to inflate their Steam libraries without any intention of playing them at all. Many content creators adopt the mindset of clicking the request button for every single title instead of selecting those that they will actually cover, expecting free games and adherence to their demands. This behavior is very disheartening, because it's actually affecting more than just the developers, but also other content creators on specific websites. While there are a handful of creators that do violate rules for personal gain, they are often punished and immediately blocked, though it may not prevent similar occurrences in the future. Some websites maintain strict guidelines, while others can be chaotic and poorly managed by showcasing a lack of transparency when the TOS is suddenly changed and never updated in physical form for years. A handful of websites operate with the intuitive systems that encourage creators to play games rather than letting them sit idle for weeks or even months. So let's jump directly into the discussion of websites that I have personally used, covering their performance, their accessibility, and many other issues that I've encountered. This list is not in any particular order, so please don't read too deeply into their placements. Some of these websites you might know of, while others may be foreign to you, and that's why we're here, to explain them all to you. I have experience with the following key distribution platforms known as Keymailer, Terminals, Rainmaker, PressEngine, DareDrop, Dropeme, Ground, Lurkit, and also PR emailing lists. Unfortunately, websites like Woovit have shut down. However, PR Pirate did want to highlight some of its shortcomings to prevent other sites from making similar mistakes. IndieBoost also shut down, and while I have used WeHype, my experience with it has been limited due to my channel size. While many websites offer these services, many are just scams or have fraudulent accounts posing as content creators with inflated statistics and ulterior motives when supporting developers. So without further ado, let's start by discussing what you need to know and what you should try to avoid. Starting off with WeHype. As I mentioned, my experience with this specific site is limited primarily because it tends to focus on large streamers with a very high CCV. While I have had a few potential opportunities to be sponsored by publishers or developers, it has been significantly limited due to the size of my channel having lowered to 22 CCV after stepping away from League of Legends content. The only sponsorships I do tend to receive are from GeoGuessr and recently a collaboration with Guild Wars 2. And I was more than happy to accept this sponsorship given my long-standing experience with the game and the continued support from community members who still play it after all of these years. Unfortunately, my experience with the website was not great due to not being given a proper time frame, assuming that it ended on a date listed on the campaign's page, so I ended up being dropped before my schedule was open between the days that I saw on that specific campaign. I suppose I wouldn't mind a collaboration again in the future should I ever grow a consistent presence on a platform like Twitch or YouTube to receive such offers, but unless you're already well established, the chances of being sponsored here are very slim. Here's a quote from the content creator known as Hean.
It's very hard to find opportunities on WeHype for somebody of my size, that being 50 CCV, but I do get some sent my way. The website offers decent to good payments in my eyes, but I just wish that I had better or an easier way to see if there are any opportunities available for me. One thing I really dislike while looking at some offers is that it says that there might be some more requirements. I feel like if more requirements are added, then you should be compensated or at least have it made optional.
Moving on to Woovit, which again is no longer available, I never really used Woovit much because few good requests were actually available. While I did stumble upon a few indie gems, these were relatively rare through all of the slop, as most of the offerings seem like low quality trash. Even though the platform provided immediate access to many of the games, I rarely found anything genuinely interesting, whether it was AAA or otherwise. I'm very selective about what I request, only choosing titles that catch my eye and seem special. From my recollection, when I requested a game, they wouldn't really penalize me if I did not cover it on any of my available channels or press outlets, which always struck me as odd, because at that point I could just continue to request games and just stockpile them. This is likely one of the many reasons that the website declined over time, that being a limited quality of games, a lack of meaningful coverage, reduced traffic, and eventually its shutdown. Here is a direct quote from Pirate PR.
Even though Woovit is no longer operational, there are still valuable lessons to learn from its experience. One of the biggest mistakes was relying on developers, publishers, and PR to bring our contacts to the platform. Essentially, it asked us to introduce our audiences to Woovit, which then created unnecessary friction by requiring the need to create another account as an extra step in our requesting process. Another issue was the low quality of games available on the platform. Without high-profile titles, whether indie or AAA, creators will eventually stop visiting the site altogether. Finally, its coverage rate system was terrible. It did not have a robust system in place and would only require creators to upload one video to refresh a quota of 3 requests. This led to creators requesting the game that were genuinely going to be covered while selecting 2 freebies for themselves or even giveaways. As a result, major titles received some decent coverage, but smaller indie developers were left wondering why 100 people requested a code, yet not a single one offered video coverage. The reality was that these games went uncovered on purpose because there was no obligation on the content creator's part.
Moving on to PR emails. A mailing list provides direct communication and notifications, ensuring that important emails are never overlooked. As a content creator, you can receive keys through Google Forms or directly in the body texts. And occasionally, you might be invited to unique paid opportunities. However, there are some downsides. It's very easy for emails to end up in the spam folder, and duplicate emails are often sent out multiple times, receiving various copies of a game without any obligation to cover them. When emails are missed, or if somebody feels overwhelmed, it can lead to losing track of all of the previously requested or accepted games, which is less than ideal. The biggest challenge is that emails can be very hard to track down. While platforms can help bridge this gap and partnering with a PR agency can make the process a lot smoother for indie developers, it often remains a manual and personal time investment. We need to find each other, find the right contacts, request to be added to email lists, and then verify our identities with links and other formalities. This method is the most reliable solution for distribution if you have the patience and resources to manage everything yourself. Once you're in, the process becomes a lot more easier for both parties. Still, it does take time, sometimes a lot of it, to stay organized and to keep everybody updated on releases or what might interest them based on their recent content instead of just sending spam requests. If I receive a request for a game that I know I will not be interested in, I will kindly let you know directly. The same can be said about a game that I have already been given by you or somebody else in that organization. This is a very organized way of handling things. We have the opportunity to connect directly. Creators can link their coverage to YouTube reviews, gameplay videos, and more. Emails are an excellent starting point for anybody looking to build up relationships, but they can be very easily forgotten without a proper system. This also applies to content creators who may be overwhelmed. Despite this, I still prefer using email over everything else because it feels more personal. Emails provide everything I need, including press kits, details, and also guides. The most important part about this whole thing is that if I wish to report a bug, talk to the developer, or even get some insights or interviews, then I have the contact information already, rather than having to go through many different hoops to find it. As I mentioned, it's very hard to find these contacts because people are frequently outsourced and emails do change. It's best to stick with what genuinely interests you. Identify a developer or a publisher that you like, visit the websites that host its games, and then look for the contact information. From there, you can pitch your channel and explain what you can offer. If accepted, you'll gain direct access to the games as they become available, ready for you to stream, review, or critique. If you're a developer and you lack experience, you should seek assistance from PR agencies. I would highly recommend Stride PR or Pirate PR, as they have been the most helpful agencies that I've personally worked with. I have spent countless hours emailing my favorite publishers and indie developers, contacting directly through contact pages, whether on websites or via PR. Although it did take an entire day to do so, the results were always worth the effort. I was always astonished by the number of games that I could actively request or receive for promotion or just to play and enjoy. That being said, if you are a publisher or a developer and you would like to add me to your mailing list, please feel free to do so. I am always open to everything from niche to popular games. You can find my contact information in the description below. Here is Nomad, the PR for the surreal game known as Muffles, sharing her take on email lists.
Nobody makes a PR email list to share around. I found scraps and skeletons of a few, but not really a lot to help. And basically, when promoting a game, you're looking for such a specific niche of whatever your game is. Like you just want specific people who are going to like it. Ideally, I mean, I'm sure there's people who also just scattershot everything. I only included people on like a press email list that I made specifically of people who seemed like they would like Muffles. I did make like an HTML email, so it had like more of a professional look, and figured out some of the tech to like have emails send out dynamically with their own Steam code and then assign it in a Google Sheet that a specific person had been sent a specific code, and set up Gmail to send out like 50 of those a day because there's limits on like what free accounts can do, like almost everything. Money can solve so many issues. So with PR email lists, making the emails, spending the effort to design it and have them go out, had the biggest return, it felt, as far as with creators. The response was generally really positive. It was still about like a 4 to 7% response rate from people, and it didn't really generate a lot of like specific media attention on it, but the ones that it did generate were really high value.
Moving on to G-Round. You've probably never heard of G-Round, and don't worry because that's a good thing. The website offers no benefits for developers or creators, and it is best avoided entirely. You might hear that it's very credible from some sources, but as somebody who has dealt with the site personally and spent time reading through the production guides as an ambassador and working on content for it directly, I can confidently say it's one of the worst sites I've worked with. Unlike most platforms, G-Round approaches content creators in a persistently predatory manner. You will initially be contacted via email asking you to become an asset to the website. Then it uses you to connect with gullible indie developers and content creators in the Discord community, promising a chance for financial gain. It then gains access to indie games to promote through its own gaming platform. The app then allows users to play indie games for free without actually owning them, only to provide feedback for more chances to win cash. Most of these reviews are low effort, and often generated by AI, as confirmed multiple times by reviewing the Discord logs. Even if these reviews are removed, the promise of potential monetary gain encourages minimal effort. As a result, high-quality content gets overshadowed, leading to community outrage when a low-effort post wins. What makes things worse is that these raffles are heavily biased towards content creators who can rack up views, real or fake. As shown in the event reward plan, you don't really stand a chance at winning the top spots as a reviewer, or even any of the mid-tier rewards, unless you can play 10 hours in a single day while editing your video very quickly and pulling in a lot of views. It's all designed to waste your time if you're a nobody, which describes much of the community, individuals from foreign countries, young and old, just trying to earn some money by playing free games. And the constant complaints about not receiving rewards, that's just business as usual here. Creators never see the benefits when they receive monetary rewards, and if they do, it's after 8 or 9 months. So to go over that again, the platform prioritizes deception over constructive critique, luring the content creators with false promises of financial rewards, while luring developers in with the promise of quality reviews to help develop the game through the playtest environment. Users will play the games, review them on the website, and upload videos to YouTube, with only a 0.001% chance of having their review selected by developers for cash rewards in the form of G points, which can be redeemed for gift cards or a PlayStation 5. These rewards are unlikely to show up and take months to save for, making the setup all but feel like a scam because nobody realistically will stay that long. There are claims of reimbursements for specific games, like with The Devil Within SatGat. Still, these are just additional ways to exploit content creators and profit from them instead of honoring commitments or providing the established agreements. G-Round appears too good to be true, and that's because it is. It's going to waste the time of both content creators and developers equally, primarily offering little more than AI-generated content. If G-Round has ever contacted you, avoid engaging with it, because that is the best solution. If you're a content creator who really likes to work hard for free without payment, reimbursement, or meaningful feedback, and also watching indie developers suffer, then G-Round might seem appealing. However, it's among the worst platform to rely on. If you do decide to register and later wish to deactivate your account and also to unsubscribe from emails, then you'll find it impossible. It will continue to send you emails of new opportunities and claim that your account will be terminated in 30 days, which it never will. Personally, I wish I had never signed up. Learn from my experience because there is nothing beneficial here. Moving on to Dropeme. I never had much interest in Dropeme even when I was one of the top 10 contributors when it first appeared. Initially, it had the potential to help promote games and encourage others to play them. Still, it soon became a way for creators to profit off developers, more specifically the large creators. To me, it just felt like a massive con. Developers put games out, only to have the opportunists pick it up for free, expecting you to give them financial rewards for doing something as simple as saying, "Hey guys, you should play this game on Steam." This is a gesture that should inherently be free of charge. It's not complicated. Unfortunately, greed does run rampant among many content creators. If I had to choose the second worst platform, it would have to be Dropeme. The name sounds odd and the site lives up to the impression with its spam-like promotions. It emerged not too long ago and immediately raised red flags. When the site first launched and upon signing up, users were directed to join various campaigns, which would primarily push them to promote Dropeme's social media accounts on platforms like Twitter, Bluesky, YouTube, Discord, Instagram, and more in exchange for raffle entries to win hard cash. The more people that you could convince to click on this link, the more entries that you would receive, increasing your potential earnings exponentially. Every campaign, regardless of the games involved, followed the same strategy, getting people to like, retweet, and follow Dropeme on social media while clicking on suspicious-looking links for a chance to win cash. At first, I did earn a lot of rewards, accumulating over $1,000 in Steam gift cards directly from Dropeme. And while winning $1,000 seems interesting, this created a lot of issues. Specifically, a lot of my friends removed me or accused me of being a bot because the platform focused more on promoting Dropeme than the actual games themselves. As content creators, we were tasked with spamming our feeds each and every day, which ultimately proved futile. As one of the top contributors alongside others like Agent, who is still in the forefront, I never felt that Dropeme offered anything unique or valuable beyond cash payments. The games on the platform are mostly of low quality, comparable to those on Woovit, and the focus seemed to be on spam, promoting this, sharing that, announcing Dropeme's presence, and repeating it endlessly for each and every campaign. Eventually, the site changed its approach. Rather than spamming users with a request to check out Dropeme, it shifted to a model where publishers and developers would pay content creators directly to complete specific tasks. This is what made me very uncomfortable. I play games for their joy and magic. They uplift my spirits. I can spend 16 hours a day creating a video in my own words about why I think you'll like or dislike something. Whether it's popular or not, I'm not interested in making money. This is something that makes me happy, so I continue to do it regardless of if I struggle. I don't want to see indie developers also struggling at the hands of greed. I've never wanted to approach developers asking for cash unless I am part of a creator program associated with a specific event that it is hosting. It's a concept that does not sit well with me. So originally, the entire platform was a raffle system. The more people that you could get to click on links, the more raffle points that you would earn, giving you a chance to win hundreds of dollars from Dropeme all of the time. Now with the new model, the developers pay content creators instead. Although Dropeme still offers small raffles here and there, the model still feels one-sided. The goals such as playing a game on stream for a certain amount of time to earn a set sum are limited. Even if a content creator fulfills the task, there is no guarantee of payment for their effort once the opportunities run out. The setup just feels wrong to me. High quality content takes time, meaning that the lower effort posts will always take center stage. I left the website immediately after this because it did not align with my values. Content creators were always paid, but as the larger streamers began to use the website more and more, those specific creators would win every event that required the most click-through rates for each link provided, which is why it was so one-sided. After finishing an event and receiving 35 cents from Paranorman's site, I couldn't bear the thought of continuing to complete tasks for money. It didn't feel very objective. I didn't like asking for a free game worth $40 or more and then asking for another $15 on top of that to play it for every hour. Ultimately, like G-Round, Dropeme failed to gain any recognition over the past 4 years. Despite the overwhelming amount of spam across multiple platforms, it still doesn't have a significant social media following. From the Steam gift raffles to the low-quality games it often hosts, right up to the constant use of AI-generated images, it always felt like this platform had no future beyond offering content creators money to play games. In short, if you are a big community streamer with a large following capable of generating significant click-through rates with all of the links provided, you alone will have a guaranteed chance at winning every single time. This discourages new and small content creators from even bothering with the website. The interest alone will be to exclusively make money rather than to showcase and genuinely enjoy most of the games that are being listed. I wasn't able to speak with many indie developers, and I sure as hell wasn't going to get somebody like Square Enix to open up. But from what I did gather, the site seems to aggressively push you to ignore the lower tier packages, claiming that if you're not investing at least $5,000 directly into them, which again is a platform that has no marketing from what I can tell outside of the spam, it just seems like you're wasting your money. They let go of 5 to 6 people before the site was even up and running. The only real form of marketing is them asking creators to spam the world with your game to no real effect. Your title is basically doomed in their hands. You know, the hands that you're lining with an absurd amount of cash for exposure to maybe 100 or 200 streamers, who genuinely will not care about your game when you are waving cash in their face. If we were to compare that to the other platforms offering outreach in the hundreds of thousands for a much more affordable and proven rate of success, you would be pretty stubborn to trust this platform. Here we have Hean's opinion.
The platform has an unusual process. You must first apply to stream a game and then wait to see if your application for payment is approved. Dropeme is set apart from other websites because it occasionally offers payments based on community actions, such as wishlisting a game, joining a Discord server, or even playing a demo. I really do wish they would refrain from using AI-generated art for their site's visuals.
Moving on to Rainmaker. Rainmaker has one main feature. It operates as a referral system. Users can browse a limited selection of games from its database and request referral codes that earn them proceeds. Occasionally, a game key may be provided, but more often than not, you need to own the game already to earn extra cash if somebody in your community makes a purchase. Rainmaker originally aimed to connect developers with content creators, however, after Xsola acquired it about 2 years ago, the platform transitioned to offering a restricted selection of video games similar to that of Woovit and Dropeme. While there aren't many options available, the platform's minimalistic design can still be useful for some creators. The compensation varies from 20%, 30%, or even 50% rates. There really isn't much to say because that's the entirety of the service. The games that are being offered here are a mixed bag, with very few standout titles. You might see a well-known AAA title once in a blue moon, but more often the emphasis is on the referral of low-quality titles. Users cannot connect directly with developers or other content creators, and there are no standards for game coverage. After logging in, you can browse through the limited selection of games and then request one. You will then have to wait and see if you are accepted or not. If the games are never played, this referral code could remain on your account for months without any consequences. I wouldn't recommend this website to publishers or developers because there is virtually no guarantee that any game listed will receive any form of publicity. It caters to the idea that content creators can earn extra money by creating referral links for games that most people are unlikely to play unless they are from major publishers. It's one of my least used websites because there is little variety, and nobody ever seems interested in any of the games, including myself. Moving on to PressEngine. PressEngine offers numerous advantages for writers and aspiring content creators. The platform boasts a wide selection of game titles, an easy-to-navigate interface, and features like news updates, event announcements, assets, and the basic ability to make requests. Creators and journalists are expected to cover a game within 7 days. If they fail to meet this requirement, the system will review their coverage rate and assign a lower rating accordingly. The platform was specifically designed for freelance journalists from both small and large outlets, aiming to support developers by helping to get games covered through media outlets. While the site focuses on article-driven platforms like IGN, TapTap, and PC Gamer, it also provides opportunities for creators to connect with developers as well. The lower a star rating a content creator has, the more assured publishers can be that the game it's promoting will be promptly covered or ignored by selected creators. When requesting a game as a content creator, you are expected to cover it. Even if a developer contacts you directly, there is still a firm obligation to follow through, even if you are tied up with other projects. Once you accept the game, some form of coverage is required, making the process more hands-on and commitment-heavy. However, you can decline titles or keep them in your key vault until you are ready, so if you are busy, you're not forced to turn down games immediately. As you can see, I've requested around 11 games on the platform and have been sent many offers, mostly because very few actually interest me. I only request the titles that I genuinely want to feature. Too often, creators treat games as freebies, clicking to claim them, repeating the process on multiple platforms, and then failing to cover most of them in any meaningful way. It's important to do your research before requesting a game. If a game looks great but plays poorly, that's one thing, but to constantly play games for 5 to 10 minutes just sends the wrong message. I discovered PressEngine through my interactions with Start Menu, a small but incredibly supportive team of community managers and editors dedicated to helping aspiring writers. It provides valuable resources and information on upcoming freelance opportunities, and I love what it has helped me accomplish over the last year. If you want to explore what it has to offer and get involved in writing and journalism, you can find a link to the website in the description below. When creating content through PressEngine, you must include links to your coverage, whether it's an article, video, or streaming platform. It also provides all the basic information on embargo dates and other requirements, making it very easy to manage directly on site. I like the additional option to subscribe to press lists, which allows publishers to access your contact information through PressEngine. As I mentioned before, being on a press list helps keep you informed about any new and upcoming releases and requestable keys, which benefits content creators and publishers alike, making it one of the best websites to obtain access to games more formally. It's important to note that while you are not guaranteed to receive a game copy, notifications regarding your application status, whether approved or denied, are sent directly to your email. This ensures a quick and hassle-free process. The same can be said for games that have been offered through outreach. I continue to use the site because I find it extremely useful. Here is a direct quote from Pirate PR.
PressEngine specializes in sending out press releases and offers a free key distribution platform. The fact that it is free is impressive, but as demand has increased, priority for creating new accounts is given to those who intend to purchase one of its services first. Since I am paying a monthly subscription fee, my requests carry more weight, and the support team is lovely to interact with. However, you do need assistance to create an account. The platform features a coverage rating system that uses a 5-star scale. Green indicates sufficient coverage is available, while grayed out stars signify uncertainty. This system is handy when choosing who to accept requests from. PressEngine actively works to remove fake or scam accounts from their site, investigating every report, which makes the platform safe and continuously improving in quality. It offers more press outlets than any other services. For instance, Lurkit focuses solely on creators and Keymailer is primarily for creators. In contrast, the site is approximately 65% press outlets and 35% creators. Many reviews from Metacritic and OpenCritic are also included, which is beneficial if you aim to secure a score, as you can target these outlets by sending out keys. I would recommend that you send press releases closer to your game's launch. It's also wise to include a call to action for requesting codes via PressEngine. The platform charges per title per month for this service, or you can choose to subscribe. If you do lack a press list or you do not have a PR agency to assist you, this is an excellent way to reach essential outlets and to generate buzz. The platform also provides a robust coverage report system, allowing you to find articles, videos, and more related to your games.
Here is another quote from Nomad.
With PressEngine, I do really like how simple it is. So as far as like loading keys in, sending them people, getting access to what has been used, really simple. Having to reach out to an individual person to get approved for an account, a little strange, but so far my experience with PressEngine has been that it's smooth. It's so much easier than sending out so many cold emails to people. Some really cool connections made out of that one. A voice actor from a web video that I used to watch, Neurotically Yours. One of the voice actors from it actually ended up playing Muffles Life Sentence. So it was really exciting. It was for me, it was like a minor celebrity. I was so excited. PressEngine made connections with people that I wouldn't have thought of, kind of an easier way to vet. I like that it put Muffles out there for people to kind of see and get a catch of the vibe and see if it was worth it for them. I did like it.
Moving on to Keymailer. Keymailer is a well-known platform in the gaming industry that has been around for quite some time. While it may not excel in design or functionality, it does boast the most extensive collection of games, which allows for easy connections with a broad pool of content creators of all sizes. This widespread accessibility is its significant advantage. Now, I do have some concerns about the website, particularly regarding adult content. The settings do not effectively separate adult content from other material, regardless of whether they are turned on or off. Additionally, the search engine lacks clarity. It does not provide a comprehensive list of games to browse. You need to know what you're looking for to find what you need. What often is the case is that the search results are primarily focused on which publishers have promoted games to the front page. This extensive selection of games can be a double-edged sword for content creators. Keymailer is often a go-to platform for many due to its size. While it offers many options from basic CCV statistics to indie games and AAA titles, I find that receiving recommendations for pre-approved emails for adult games very frustrating. It's not that I don't want to play those games, it's that I cannot stream or review them, and although I wouldn't be penalized for my coverage rating for that, I still find it very disappointing. It sounds like a stretch, but this lowers my perception of the platform due to the repetitive nature of the search engine not being great, feeling like it's doing it on purpose so that developers who pay for promotion at the front page get better results. I mention this because we as content creators get regular emails specifically for the trending tab, not for new games. You might not know it, but Keymailer does offer partner programs, but these are exclusively reserved for developers to select participants manually, though it does seem like it's improving this feature over time. Over the years, Keymailer has introduced numerous features to help users discover new titles and view promotions, but there is still more room for improvement as we have just mentioned. The system only allows for specific searches by individual developers, game titles, or genres, and in small batches. For instance, when I hear about a new game, I usually jump on Keymailer to check and see if that game is requestable. Even if a game has been published on the site, if it has a notification or a follow option, it typically means that it is currently not available on the site and probably never will be. If it does become available, you will be the first to know. There's always an impressive variety of games to choose from every week. For example, suppose I'm interested in playing an action roguelike this week and I want to see what's upcoming or recently released. In that case, I can visit the Browse section and select Roguelike and then sort by recommended and also coming soon. Suppose as a content creator your account is in good standing, meaning that you've played many games that you've received and covered them on your channel. In that case, developers can pre-approve your profile, effectively autopiloting the process without requiring manual intervention. This ensures that every claim is immediately eligible for coverage with a 100% guarantee that creators will cover it in some way, shape, or form. If we as content creators decline these pre-approved games, we as creators can never request them again. I enjoy using Keymailer to browse new monthly releases to find games that catch my eye, and I'm constantly discovering new excellent titles. However, seeing some of the best required a lot of extra effort. Recently, I learned that a built-in feature on the platform helps narrow down your searches to games that you are most likely to play, providing tailored recommendations. By choosing a favorite title or genre and searching for your favorites, the site adjusts to align more closely with your own interests. Because I haven't done this, I can't comment a whole lot on the feature, but if it works similarly to how the website search engine does, showcasing non-pre-approved games and titles in the wrong search filters, then I would have to say it's probably not going to do much. As you can see, I've been creating content for a while on Keymailer. While I may not be the biggest or most popular content creator, I always strive to do my best. I do sometimes skip out on a few games that I request for various reasons. If a game is physically unplayable, there isn't a whole lot that I can do about it. I began with Keymailer and I returned because of that initial starting point. Everything on Keymailer must be manually requested. After submitting a request, it is up to the developers to review the profiles and decide whether to approve you. One downside is the lack of communication between developers and content creators. Although there is a messaging system, it is rarely used, and what it is, it feels more like a site-wide announcement. You will never get notified if your request is declined, and many requests can linger in limbo for extended periods. Finding opportunities and events can also be challenging because accessing special vaults and entire catalogs requires direct invites from the publishers and developers. And most content creators won't even know that they exist. As an example, I am a partner with PCube Catalog, so whenever a new game gets released, I am always informed and can instantly pick it up when it is available, rather than having to wait. Promoting your game to the front page seems essential to get noticed as a publisher. This can happen through a Steam Publisher event or targeted promotions for a specific genre or a single game. There's a lot of good games and bad games to sift through, and the effort is definitely worthwhile, as having your game featured on the front page ensures that it will get noticed rather than being buried in the catalog and overlooked due to the search engine's inconsistent highlighting of new games. Once again, this is because this tab is what we as content creators are frequently going to be notified about in emails. Content creators typically have anywhere from 30 to 60 days to provide coverage for any game. While that does sound generous, it also presents its challenges. You can lose coverage rating if a game has no trackable title or if you forget to include the correct hashtag in your stream or video. And when those are unavailable, consequently you may find yourself reaching out to support constantly to restore your account's rating to maintain a score that is closer to 100%. This is because it is the only website that automatically tracks streams and YouTube coverage as long as the game is being streamed or if you apply the sometimes provided hashtags for the site to track it. Over the years, I have covered over 1,000 games through Keymailer, and I believe that the platform has been mutually beneficial for everybody that has been involved. While there may be special events from time to time and possibly paid deals which I assume are meant for the high-value streamers, I continue to use the site because I have fully established myself within the community. It allows me to see what is upcoming and available for requests more effectively than most other platforms, though in comparison to something like Lurkit, it's still middle ground. Here we have Hean's opinion.
Keymailer has the most expansive library of games among all platforms. Though it could use some updates to enhance the discovery of creator programs, I only found out about specific programs on Keymailer after receiving an invitation from Pcube. While I do support the availability of porn games on the website, it's essential to have open platforms that can accommodate such titles. Overall, Keymailer is very user-friendly and easy to use compared to many other options.
Here is a direct quote from Pirate PR.
Keymailer is one of the most affordable options for outreach, which is a significant advantage. While key approval used to be completely free, it is now only free for the first 10 visible requests, which is not that big of a deal, because the cost remains manageable at about $50 per month per title. Most developers only need 2 to 3 months of exposure before interest in the game begins to taper off, so this expense is still reasonable. Although Keymailer encourages a monthly subscription, it's often more strategic to evaluate your plan on a month-to-month basis. If your incoming requests are decreasing, you can opt out without overspending. The site also promotes select titles on their social media platforms such as Twitter and YouTube, which does typically lead to a noticeable increase to request volumes. A proven tactic is the 7-day paid promotion, which highlights your game on Keymailer's homepage. I usually run this about 3 weeks before the launch of the game. The first week benefits from homepage exposure. The second week often carries over into the trending tab due to the momentum, and then the final week places your game in the upcoming releases section. Keymailer's outreach service allows me to selectively choose creators who have played similar games. Lurkit also provides a similar feature, but without a visible coverage rating, it feels a bit like flying blind with random choices. Keymailer, on the other hand, allows you to sort creators by audience, size, and reliability using their green star rating system. Seeing 2 or 3 stars gives me a high level of confidence that the creators may or may not cover the game. The main downside that I have with Keymailer is its interface. For a site that supports multi-platform releases, the request table often becomes too wide for a standard 16 by 9 screen, forcing you to scroll horizontally. This is very clunky and time-consuming. However, the support team is quick, helpful, and easy to reach via email. I do have an ethical issue. Keymailer has a tendency to create game pages on the platform independently from developers. These pages do not feature a request button. Instead, they have a notify or follow me option. This practice has caused some friction with the Baldur's Gate 3 team, and it's very easy to see why. When a creator or a journalist from the press discovers a game on Keymailer and clicks Notify Me, they might assume that requests for keys will eventually be opened, which may lead them to stop searching for review keys elsewhere. However, the developers or publishers are often unaware that the pages exist because it was not created by them. From a business standpoint, it makes sense. If enough creators express interest, Keymailer can approach these developers with statements like, "Over 200 content creators are waiting for a key." It's a very compelling pitch. However, from the developer's perspective, if it had no plans to use the platform, it may have never realized there was any interest, and some creators could miss out on keys they could have obtained through other channels, resulting in potentially lost coverage.
Moving on to terminals. It's interesting in hindsight. I decided to make this video to discuss various websites, and just as I was starting, I unexpectedly received an email granting me access to the closed beta version of terminals. And this experience has significantly altered my perspective of the platform. The update introduced many new features and a more modern design, enhancing navigation and overall usability. With that being said, let's go over our previous experiences. Terminals, like Keymailer, is a well-known higher-end key distribution platform. However, I've never really liked it as much as other platforms. The main reason is that before you can even request a game, you are required to write a complete PR-style introduction explaining why it should grant you access. My reasons have always been the same. The games that I requested looked interesting and I would love to play them, review them, or stream them depending on what feels right at the time. That being said, the website has always seemed a bit dated, and considering it is on its 10th year, it was in dire need of an update. The problem that I had with Terminals was that it didn't feel like a genuine distribution website. As a content creator, it only offered a limited selection of games available for requests. While there was always a list of currently open requests and a selection for upcoming titles, the offerings never felt fresh, and the discovery queue would always display the same games, no matter what you would choose to ignore. After giving it some thought, I eventually came to the understanding that Terminals may have been designed more for establishing direct communication with publishers similar to PressEngine, but without a sole focus on in-house requests. Terminals often felt more like a display shelf for publishers rather than a proper distribution platform. It felt like the platform was trying to encourage press and creators to reach out directly to representatives on social media or through their official websites. Although there are options to request games, these are often always closed or inaccessible, making direct contact necessary. On one hand, this direct communication is beneficial and fosters genuine connections. However, not everybody is comfortable with this approach. Some creators prefer a convenient, centralized platform to request games and move forward without any additional steps. Therefore, if you are a content creator or a member of the press with some time to spare, or if you are a publisher or a developer who values one-on-one communication via emails, then Terminal could be one of the best websites for making direct connections and fostering relationships. When a game is requested, whether denied or approved, it often feels like there are no strict time limits or strong incentives for creators to fulfill the commitments. Since the entire process is manual, there is a high likelihood that some coverage might get overlooked. If there is a considerable amount of missed coverage, this is what representatives will notice when considering your eligibility to accept a request. While this provides some motivation, it feels quite lenient and doesn't seem as punishing as other sites. Terminal was definitely one of my least used platforms, and when I did use it, I did try to ensure that all requirements were met. Unfortunately, since everything is handled manually, I have occasionally forgotten to submit the necessary coverage since I am never being notified, resulting in a small backlog that I need to sort through before I begin requesting games again, even though I had previously covered them. Unlike other platforms where campaigns are taken down after some time, these remain on your profile until they are complete. With the recent changes and the sneak peek that I received from the developer Lorenzo Sapora, I am excited about the new design shift and its previously hard to see functionalities. The updated features allows users to connect directly with outbound sources, which I feel facilitates the website's approach of being more press-focused than creator-focused. Creators can search directly for a developer's game, showcasing all of its upcoming releases and open or close requests. The transformation has moved away from a bland design and to a more sleek and hopefully beneficial one. Since I haven't had a lot of time to explore the new features thoroughly, I would highly advise checking out the website for yourself to see how it fares. My original issue with Terminal was the lack of transparency around what was actually available. For so many years, the front page never changed. It was always the same 10 games paired with the non-functional discovery queue. The queue consistently showed the same titles with no way to hide or filter out content that you weren't interested in. This lack of a search engine made the platform frustrating to use and kept me from approaching it. Now that Terminals has updated for its 10th anniversary, the new functionality has made the platform feel much more promising with much better ease of access and functionality. The ability to pitch personalized reasons for key requests along with a clearer visibility on all of the available games is a welcome change. It's definitely piqued my interest to say the least. Moving on to Lurkit. Finally, we can address the elephant in the room, which presented more problems from a content creator's perspective than I can fully detail. The ongoing issues revolve around the sheer number of fake accounts and resellers on the platform. At one point, I considered Lurkit to be the best and most frustrating distribution platform to work with throughout my many years in journalism. Lurkit was initially promoted as a platform to help indie games gain exposure through various content creators. It has never supported press outlets and their writers. It was specifically designed to appeal to indie developers with its lower cost packages, including a free option that allowed developers to list games without straining its budget. The platform also wasn't just for games, it was for sponsorships, deals, promotions, and more, and that is now its biggest selling point. Due to the many ongoing issues that have worsened over the past 2 years, myself and a lot of other dedicated content creators have faced suspensions and, in some cases, been permanently banned from the platform entirely. And as a consequence, I am unable to demonstrate the platform in as much depth as I would like to because of it. If you know me, you know that I am passionate about everything that I do. I only started making YouTube reviews after spending years writing articles, doing Steam reviews, and streaming game coverage. Eventually, I broke out of that comfort zone and I finally started doing something healthier than rotting away with League of Legends, where I was pouring over 2,000 hours into writing guides and over 10,000 hours suffering that addiction while offering help over the course of a decade. Lurkit has constantly been breathing down our necks because of legitimate issues plaguing the platform, and it has nothing to do with many of us, and it has gotten out of control. Let me be clear here, I am not playing the fake victim card. You will have a bunch of people defending Lurkit and claiming otherwise, but seriously, go ask around, look up forum posts, check Twitter or anywhere else you can find details regarding Lurkit and the current problems. It could be a PR agency, it could be an indie developer, it could be another streamer. People have been very outspoken and Lurkit has been violently purging everything, from the subreddit posts and comments, banning every single one of us to silence us, banning large portions of the Discord users, and more. This isn't a joke. The platform has been since 2022 filled with fake accounts, resellers, and scam offers. Once again, as I said, I reached out to every source that I could find, even the completely dead Lurkit subreddit, where I was seeing a lot of people asking the same question: why was I banned? I answered questions nobody else was getting answers for, and was immediately purged along with those asking the question from any form of discussion. That alone shows you how serious they are at covering up the mess behind the scenes, which is likely the same reason so many major publishers keep pulling out. The easiest way to compare this is to remember back when Twitch had those auto-hosting channels that rotated a new streamer every 20 minutes. This was artificial viewership. It was people spamming to be hosted, and those accounts would then get partnered. That is the kind of empty engagement that is plaguing Lurkit right now. It's artificial, it's built on exploiting systems rather than actual content creation. You got people gaming the platform, flooding it with activity that looks real, but it's not. This is why Lurkit has started to crack down on pretty much everybody so that they can save face and get them off of the platform, but they're doing it in the wrong way. Do you have a lot of lurkers and users who rarely speak or interact? Well, then you're a target for concern. These are things that you cannot control. I want to explain how Lurkit is actively discouraging content creators from achieving any meaningful growth. Let's imagine my friend Lurker, who plays the same game every day, usually has around 6 to 10 viewers. Let's say that I stream late and I decide to raid his stream. His viewership then gets a spike in 25 or 30 views for an hour. This in turn attracts a few more viewers, most of whom are just lurking to check out the atmosphere. Since his views increase rapidly without any active engagement, Lurkit can and will view this as a breach of their TOS, which was never documented prior and could penalize him with a ban. Again, this is extremely unfair, mainly since it was triggered by my actions, which are out of his control. The same could be said for me. I could be playing through the 500 Steam Next Fest demos that I picked out during a month and get a surprise raid, which has 100 viewers for a few minutes before falling silent to 3 to 4 chatters again. It's the exact same thing. We are deemed suspicious and it's out of our control. I'm not going to go out of my way to reprimand people for not chatting in my streams. I had a friend visit for a while, and while he was here, he left the stream on in the background of his mobile games, just enjoying the atmosphere and occasionally checking in silently. The same principle applies if you write for a website or connect with other content creators on Twitch via stream together. As creators, we are trying to do everything in our power to branch out, drive traffic, and promote our work, only to find ourselves deemed invaluable by Lurkit, whose claims are based solely on unwritten word-of-mouth policies. I mean, go ahead, just look at their TOS. I ended up copy-pasting the old one before they quietly updated it after 4 to 5 years of doing absolutely nothing. And now look what they claim. From word of mouth, suddenly you're only allowed to request 3 games a week? Okay, sure, that sounds reasonable. Oh wait, except it's complete bullshit. That rule pulled straight out of nowhere. There's nothing in the new, updated terms of services that mentions it. This is how non-transparent they have become over the last couple of years. Unless you are a content creator with average viewer numbers and chat activity to match it, Lurkit doesn't seem to want anything to do with you in its currently declining ecosystem, which has shifted to kissing the asses of publishers and developers more than anything else. That's the kind of fake activity happening on this platform. It's a revolving door, and because there were so many AAA titles available, it started to get out of hand fast. I request games and then I play them. Trailers can only showcase so much. If a game sucks, it sucks. I'll drop it after 30 to 60 minutes. If it is a really good game, I'll put in a couple of hours, I'll share it, I'll log it in my backlog, and later, if I want to speak about it more, I will work on a video review. I like to keep a list to keep myself busy and cycle back to games between other projects all of the time. A lot of these games that I have here on my Steam catalog are games that I paid for. A lot of them are also from Keymailer, DareDrop, Lurkit, and while I have covered each and every one of them prior, I am doubling back around to work on YouTube uploads. I see no problem with this because I have already fulfilled the previous obligations. And keep in mind, I'm not getting paid to do these reviews. I'm doing them in my own time. Unless a developer specifically requests coverage, there is no obligation for me to rearrange my own schedule that I care deeply about, just to satisfy somebody who has no patience. I wake up at 6 a.m. every morning, stream until 10, grab a snack, stream again until 2 p.m., and then I go for a run or I hit the trails on my mountain bike, unless it is a rest day. After that, I eat and I spend the rest of my evening writing and editing until 10 p.m. That is my legitimate routine. I like keeping to it. I don't have time for other things, and frankly, I don't make time for nonsense. The pros of Lurkit is its appealing interface, a promising future for indie developers, and a diverse selection of both AAA games and indie games alike. Recently, however, there has been a noticeable increase of AAA titles, more than every other site. And that is what makes it so appealing. If you didn't meet the requirements for a specific game, you could still, as a content creator, submit a request and potentially get accepted, which was great, though I can see how it may be annoying from a developer's perspective, when it's expecting requests that align with the settings chosen, be that the specific language or views only. The creator programs, quests, and other features, while initially beneficial, often became a handful to manage due to front-end and back-end development issues, of which never received the necessary updates for years. This created many flaws with accepting events, getting paid, and so on due to the confusion. This could be due to a missing button, a lack of transparency on what was needed, and so on. It was very disheartening. Given the extensive list of flaws, I'll keep my points brief. The main issues include poor functionality, duplicated search results, and a lack of transparency regarding the terms of service. There were so many behind-the-scene changes to the TOS that took effect immediately, without any warnings, communication via email, or any modifications to the TOS in writing, which specifically affected mostly content creators. There were ongoing interface problems with both active and concluded campaigns. Email access to campaigns is non-existent, as everything is handled in-house, resulting in campaigns disappearing before they could even be redeemed. Recently, creators faced strict regulations and restrictions for raids, streaming, advertising, and embedding their content on websites. These issues are worsened by the presence of silent lurkers, completely out of anybody's control. I could continue listing concerns for hours, but I will not. I have a lot of negative feedback, but sharing it is challenging due to the turmoil surrounding the recent changes in community management. I really want to show my account on Lurkit, but I don't have access, and because I am a legitimate creator, I don't have access to hundreds of fake alternative accounts, like the resellers do. So I'm stuck with these screenshots of other streamers' profiles and this hideous banner of Lurkit. Once Trance and Bunny, two excellent community managers, were replaced by Bell and Franks, things began to deteriorate rapidly. I'll go into more detail and elaborate on that soon, as I do not fear speaking the truth. I can safely say that I no longer care about Lurkit or what may happen to my account, which is technically still active but banned, an account that I've worked hard to maintain over the last fair amount of years. Lurkit has finally begun to show its true colors. I've worked directly with numerous publishers through Lurkit, and I have invited several other developers to join the site, particularly those looking for ways to get its passion projects noticed. My experiences with everyone involved was always positive. I participated in many of the site's creator and quest programs, which provided opportunities to request giveaway copies, apparel, cash, merchandise for computer parts, and even supplement sponsors. I was a part of various content creator programs, including Lurkit itself, P-Cube, Mad Mushroom, Techland, Crytek, Raw Fury, 11th Hour, and even Deep Silver. Being a part of the Deep Silver community, I earned this unique badge as one of the few content creators to receive it. Lurkit helped facilitate direct communication between developers and content creators of all sizes. While this sounds fantastic, it's precisely the issue. It was too perfect to last once management began to shift, which is common with these businesses. Once I lost access to the platform and the Discord, I lost access to 90% of my data to get back in contact with publishers and developers if associated with it. In the past year alone, I can provide multiple instances of high-profile developers and publishers publicly announcing their decision to stop using Lurkit services for undisclosed reasons, opting instead to use alternatives like Keymailer and Gamesite. As somebody who has been with Lurkit since nearly the beginning, I can shed some light on what went wrong. The issue of departures from the platform isn't restricted to small indie developers. Larger publishers like Deep Silver and smaller companies like P-Cube have also left. This event was occurring shortly before management started changing. In the site's earlier days, it was very clean, friendly, and accessible thanks to Trance and the original team. When users logged in, they could request games from sections featuring new, upcoming, or popular titles. As a content creator, the more games that you covered, the more points that you would earn, which would then be redeemed for game keys in the shop located in the top right corner of the screen. This system motivated creators. Over time, however, this rewarding system stagnated. For many years, new games stopped being added to this shop, leaving many creators with a growing stack of points and nothing to redeem them with. This stagnation negatively impacted many features and services on the platform. A lot of the functionality stopped working, campaigns began to duplicate, and it took years for issues to be resolved. Even with the temporary fixes, the shop remained empty while our pockets remained overflowing with a pointless currency that wasn't being changed. If we as content creators requested and covered games, it would remain on our active list indefinitely, preventing us from clearing them. For example, I had over 700 games that never disappeared from the active section, even though the campaigns were no longer available on the platform. The same was true for the ended section, which contained over 800 disorganized titles and offers that also got stuck. This made it extremely difficult for long-term content creators to navigate through the clutter and manually submit their coverage for each title. Back then, I wasn't creating full video reviews yet. I was still building up to YouTube by writing Steam reviews and contributing to a media outlet. Most of what I uploaded to Lurkit were stream archives, which unfortunately do not last, as Twitch deletes past broadcasts over 30 days, and the new highlight limits make preserving them even harder. This is likely why I received an email from Bell claiming that I had zero coverage for all of the games that I requested. But the reality is, I did play them. I reviewed them, I streamed them, and shared them with my community. Just because the footage is gone doesn't mean the work didn't happen. Many of my submissions were marked as incomplete, which lowered our coverage rating. Even after contacting support to verify that submissions were indeed complete, we often received no positive response or adjustments because there's realistically no good communication between the website and creators. This resulted in many events and quests going unpaid, leaving developers without any way to help regardless of whether the content was produced in time. I experienced this with several creator program events like playing Last Epoch for 50 hours that did not get added to the site, absolving the platform from any obligation to initiate a payout. The platform has historically prioritized numerical performance over the needs of creators. For years, functionality and accessibility has been lacking, and there has been little to no communication from the team outside of PR-style apologies recently. Over the past year, likely due to the shift in management following possible funding issues and publisher departures, the platform has only worsened. Long-term creators have been neglected, often met with vague or poorly explained excuses about its accountability. In the beginning, I tried to help market it, covered games and reviewed them while establishing myself as a writer, editor, and content creator. I transitioned from my previous focus and obsessions on playing games like League of Legends to my current involvement with journalism. As a freelance writer and editor for several years, including my stints at Mobifier and other applications that are no longer available, these sites and applications frequently linked my Twitch channel to increase traffic while I played its games, promoting them to users who were interested. When I was done playing these games, it would help spotlight other games as I transitioned from them. After a while, I revived my YouTube channel, which I initially found unenjoyable since I only posted MIDI files and gameplay footage of games like Undertale a decade ago. Many of these videos generated over 1 million views, though they were not monetized. I created the content as a hobby before eventually deleting or hiding them, thinking nothing of it. This background is essential for understanding why the new community managers at Lurkit chose to ban specifically me, along with many other creators, immediately, without any warning or communication, regardless of our ratings, size, activity, or tenure on the platform. In my case, my YouTube featured an API that the team deemed suspicious, mentioning once again the lack of content being reviewed, when the content being reviewed on Twitch was from months ago, since I had stopped using the site more recently in favor of emails. I have no idea why this was my channel analytics at the time of reviving my account. I don't know the background behind it, but after a few months, this is what it looks like after having removed all of the previous content. Lurkit justified my ban by alleging that I was viewbotting and not doing anything with the content, while achieving inflated statistics through inappropriate means. Much of that is not my doing. I have collaborated with many sites and other distribution platforms like DareDrop, which embeds Twitch streams when you play a game for other creators and publishers to see on the main page of those games. This genuinely fosters community growth and interaction among content creators. Other websites like ZardGG, Mobifier, and even my link page would also do these things to encourage users to drop by and participate and even ask questions. When I communicated this with Franz, he confirmed directly and nonchalantly that YouTube statistics have been unreliable for some time and could not be verified accurately. This was also cited as one reason for my ban. I really don't want to go into more detail here as I have already written a comprehensive essay about the situation, complete with links and references for support, while also being completely transparent, which you can find in the description box below. It's essential to know that Lurkit really did screw us over. I understand that the site has been a breeding ground for fake accounts and reselling, but the responses that we received resemble that of companies like Blizzard and its AI support teams, characterized by a lack of transparency, poor communication, and extraordinarily long response times for tickets. The way that I see it is that Lurkit is desperately trying to save face by focusing all of its attention on high-end users who are confirmed as large streamers, while appeasing publishers to prevent it from taking its business elsewhere. As with any other business in the world that shifts ownership, quality tends to decline while prices increase, which I believe will happen in the next 2 years. If you are a publisher, I encourage you to check the prices and compare them to previous years. I tried my best to speak directly with the representatives from the Lurkit programs, with whom I had lost contact with through Twitter, Discord, and emails. Many of them chose to remain anonymous out of fear of repercussion from Lurkit while expressing their grievances. Despite communicating with each and every one of them, they were unable to help me recover my account. I also reached out to other content creators who experienced similar inexplicable bans. All of our emails were formatted similarly, with no follow-up months after the bans. So let's just take a moment to sit back and think about this. I want to ask you directly as a person, not a content creator, publisher, or a developer. Do you really believe that a platform that doesn't value its creators will treat you any differently? My perception of this website has taken a dramatic change compared to years past. It now feels as though you are merely seen as a financial asset and nothing more. It cares little about your games and are targeting creators to refocus on a steady flow of viewers. This means no more raids, no stream-togethers, no ads, and no marketing support for any of us, which is just unreasonable. Isn't the entire point of seeking out creators for promotion tied to game reviews? It just seems absurd when you think about it. I could be sitting here playing something like League of Legends, which is arguably more interactive since I have so much to talk about. Then somebody might tune in and ask me about a game that I'm currently streaming or the day before through an outside platform. I could easily then direct them to the correct channel. To my surprise, I often see people picking up a $80 game or multiple indie games and becoming completely engrossed with them for weeks. This shows that what I'm doing is producing results in my own way, even if it isn't on a massive scale. So what exactly is the problem? I'm doing everything that I can in my small corner of the world to find great games to showcase with my friends and communities. I'm often surprised by how many people watch quietly and still express interest in the games that I review. It might not be 1 million or even 100,000 people, but what I create and promote in my own way still manages to influence others to pick up multiple copies and share them with friends. Isn't that what this is all about? I'm not out here requesting every single AAA title or expensive game on the market 80 times a day. I buy games when I can, and I publicly support every interesting title that comes my way. The passion for what I do is evident, and I would love to reach a wider audience. Even though I am not very sociable, it's something that I continue to strive for despite my shortcomings. I do take the time to explore every upcoming title, revisit the classics, and uncover hidden gems that I believe others should experience. I conduct thorough research to determine if a game is something that I would genuinely enjoy playing. If I start a game and I find that it's actually pretty terrible, I won't hesitate to push through the slog for an honest review after 5 hours if I do want to review it. I then aim to link that coverage to several outlets, raising awareness of both my efforts and the magic or challenges of a game rather than letting them sit unnoticed in obscurity. This is important in an oversaturated market where performance can vary significantly day to day. We learn from these experiences, striving for consistency and improvement with each and every attempt. As a variety streamer and content creator, while I may not generate the numbers one might expect, I am dedicated in my craft despite the small and varied focus. It's unrealistic to expect content creators to stifle their own growth by avoiding legitimate promotional channels, whether that's social media, collaborations, or embedded content. Many others have shared similar concerns. I understand that the platform is facing challenges, particularly with being a significant target for key reselling. But punishing content creators by dropping by a stream at 5 in the morning, skipping through 2 hours of an 8-hour stream, and saying nobody is actively chatting and lurking on Twitch without a fair evaluation isn't the solution. I handle my keys responsibly. Every code that I receive, whether claimed or given as a giveaway for a multiplayer game, has been accounted for. You will never find a single game key traced back to me on a reseller website because I never engage in such practices. I buy and receive between 400 and 500 games per year, and I play each and every one. With no significant responsibilities distracting me, I can dedicate my time from 5 a.m. in the morning until 10 p.m. to playing, editing, reviewing, and writing. 3 to 6 games a week while juggling multiple other projects like this video in between it all with Steam Next Fest. The easiest way to describe myself is that I'm a selfish workaholic. I'd rather sit here and work all day rather than do anything else. I'm always adding new games to my growing backlog that I am ever eager to revisit and showcase when I eventually get to it. Despite this commitment, even requesting a game key can lead to a total ban from Lurkit, regardless of one's dedication. Look, I can understand if someone requests every single title on the platform in a single day, but if a game is not yet released and it's listed as upcoming, it's nonsensical to justify a ban just for requesting games that one has never seen or played before. Without a good rating similar to Keymailer, which automatically delivers games, it takes time for requests to be accepted or declined. And if you are a developer and you have this enabled, you're not going to know who's going to be getting the games, because these coverage ratings are hidden to you. So imagine being in my position, spending every single day, 7 days a week, playing both good and bad games, never taking a single day off besides Monday, where I'm doing my writing, my editing, my voicing, which I'm doing right now, and trying new releases, and compiling comprehensive lists such as those for Steam Next Fest showcases, posting threads on the Indie Dev subreddit, offering opinions on video games everywhere that I go. Many titles that I explore have been out for years, which means there is no embargo or immediate pressure to publish content. This allows creators like myself the freedom to work at my own pace, since the average coverage rating for Lurkit was about 30 days, which can vary depending on the publishers. I often stream a lot of games, that is true. I do this to get a feel for them, and then set them aside after a set amount of time. I do this because I want to work on them later when I have time after tackling the higher priority projects and other titles. Consider a scenario where a content creator signs up to Lurkit, gets approved, and starts browsing the extensive list of games. Let's say they request every single interesting title, only to find themselves banned for asking for too many games. Basically, there was no time limit for any content creator to accept the game key before the timer started, so the key gave ample time to work on a review or coverage. So let's say I requested a game and I didn't accept the key until a week later, then the timer would start. It just makes no sense. Furthermore, there were no notifications when requests were declined. Many games just went into limbo, similar to Keymailer. Creators are expected to abide by the website's preconceived notions of what constitutes as an acceptable number of requests. 20 games could easily include puzzle games or action roguelikes that last only about 2 hours of game loop. I could understand a ban for requesting 20 games that each take 60 hours in a single week, but that just isn't usually the case. It's disheartening to see Lurkit take such an approach towards content creators for random reasons. I have made countless requests for games through Keymailer, and some have remained unaccepted for years. Titles that I genuinely want to cover, discovered through my search for games I would have never had the privilege of finding through Steam or any other medium. So what exactly is Lurkit's problem? It appears that the site is being run ineffectively, with their communication failing to notify publishers and developers properly while leaving creators in the dark. You may receive a notification that your game has been played by a content creator, but instead of your game being acknowledged, it is listed as something else entirely. Randy Becker, the creator of Unit Down, has previously mentioned this, highlighting how ineffective the website's statistics have been, consistently functioning poorly since 2021 to the present. This has created a steady uphill struggle for developers and publishers while making it increasingly difficult for creators with no supportive footing. Yes, this may have come off as a bit of a rant, but to summarize my experience with Lurkit, it does not prioritize content creators. The primary focus seems to be on generating as much revenue while hindering the growth of most content creators on its platform, which is often non-functional. In a misguided attempt to improve its image and fix its tarnished reputation, it let go of the best community managers and replaced them with individuals who are heavily incompetent and unqualified for the job. It's as if Bell and Franks are only just approaching the position of CM, and they still need a lot more training. The impression that I got was that they are helping to undermine a once great platform. I understand the underlying issues with the site, but it's something that has never been appropriately addressed. During my time with Lurkit, the Discord felt completely lifeless. Until more recently, most conversations revolved around complaints about the unjust bans and the focus on specific content creators maintaining their appearances rather than genuinely supporting one another. As somebody who was once part of the Lurkit partner program before being banned, I saw firsthand how quickly the environment shifted from open collaboration to forming cliques and spreading negativity behind the scenes. Partners of Lurkit would openly criticize non-partners in their private chats while putting on a friendly facade in general discussions. I no longer have access to the Discord or those channels, so you'll have to take my word for it. I am known to be an outspoken individual and considered trustworthy by many who know me, as I do not fabricate stories. As I don't have direct evidence to share right now, it's really all I have to go off of. The Discord community felt like a Twitter mentality. Because somebody was partnered with the platform, they believed they had the right to look down on others who were not in their positions, actively berating those individuals and putting on a show to satisfy themselves and pretend to be somebody that they aren't, which just sickened me. I used to recommend the platform to everybody that I encountered. Still, now after being removed without any warnings, emails, or transparency regarding the sudden changes in policies, adjustments that took months if not years to implement in writing, I no longer support it and actively discourage others from falling victim to the underlying reselling problems. This is the only website I know that has caused many creators to lose faith in themselves and experience anxiety. Imagine working so hard for years, only to be dismissed without any evidence to support such decisions. I mean, hell, they had unresolved support tickets that went unanswered for years. Regardless of my rant and regardless of the issues, I can positively say that this experience did not impact me too much. I'm just sharing my opinion openly, without fear of retaliation. The thing is, I had been gradually distancing myself from the platform before the ban, focusing instead on more engaging alternatives that felt more mutually beneficial for all parties involved. That being until one day when I received a lengthy amount of emails from THQ Nordic, granting me access to its entire catalog of games. Considering the fact that I'm always at my computer and being very attentive to my emails, I quickly accepted all of the offers and began scheduling those games in the coming weeks. However, when I received each game on my Steam profile, I suddenly found myself logged out of Lurkit and unable to access my account. It took an entire month to receive a response from the team who claimed that I appeared suspicious. As a result, I would no longer be able to fulfill my commitments on the site and wasn't able to contact THQ Nordic about the situation, halting my coverage plans indefinitely. I would love to hear your thoughts on this situation in the comments below, as not enough people are speaking up about it. Perhaps you can share your own experiences if your policies allow it. I'm not affiliated with any alternatives, nor am I being compensated for my opinions. I genuinely believe that Lurkit has become less appealing than it once was. While it may have a lot of AAA title games nowadays, it's just unfortunate to see all of your hard work go to waste when you've tried to grow in a way that feels right for you personally. And it's all because they can't handle their own problems, only to be undermined and reprimanded based on quick glance judgments. I just don't think it's right. I know it's trying to save the platform, but it could have been handled much better than it was. Here we have Hean's opinion.
Lurkit has a great feature to be able to message developers or PR representatives directly to discuss paid opportunities known as quests. Although responses may sometimes be slow or result in a default decline message, my experiences have generally been positive. There have been some known concerns about Web3, NFT, and shady games on the platform, but to my knowledge, the platform is working to address these issues. I believe Lurkit has some shaky aspects that need improvement with the platform, and there are many front-end updates needed to enhance the overall user experience.
Here we have a quote from a redacted PR.
Lurkit has steadily grown to become the platform with the most significant number of AAA games, which is their primary strength. Currently, they also have the larger content creators. Unfortunately, this growth seems to have led to increased prices. I paid $600 per year for a trial that I utilized for 2 years. At that point, the normal cost was about $1,800 per year, but I've heard it's quoting around $3,000 now. What's so frustrating is that this price does not seem to differ whether you are a PR professional like me managing multiple titles or an indie developer with just one game. So my advice would be to try to negotiate the price down the first time you use its services. Most are willing to agree to this, which then lowers your risk as you evaluate whether it's a good fit for you. Lurkit also significantly focuses on metrics. It's aiming to connect users with creators who have strong performance indicators. This means larger followings and consistent or growing viewership, allowing users to quickly approve key requests. If all of the creators on the platform were legitimate, this would be a solid method for distributing keys to major influencers. But unfortunately, this approach has several flaws. The biggest issue is that there is no coverage rating visible to developers, publishers, or PR representatives. This is perplexing given that creators can see their own coverage ratings. I suspect that they are withholding this information from us to conceal how many users on the platform have terrible ratings. There is zero accountability for creators who fail to deliver coverage. The lack of consequences for those who grab and run results in many users with that sole intent. I'm currently testing this myself with my own creator account to see how long it takes before I receive a warning from the admins. This situation also means that the platform is filled with so many different fake accounts. There is a significant scam on YouTube and Twitch where users appear impressive on paper, but the content is fake, with fake comments and inflated numbers. Whenever I see a code for a console game being sold on a place like Kingwin for a game that I represent, it always traces back to somebody from Lurkit. I am known for being outspoken about fake key requests and check accounts daily, yet I've still been misled multiple times by Lurkit. For PR professionals, Lurkit has not made it easy to export results for individual games or to recover keys after realizing that too many have been sent out. The process involves exporting all coverage to all keys and then manually sorting through spreadsheets or re-adding them individually to find what you need. When I requested assistance with this, I had to wait months for a response. These combined issues are why I currently do not use Lurkit. However, I would consider returning if they addressed many of these concerns.
I'd love to mention Randy Becker again, also known as Proper Developer. He is one of my favorite indie developers that have collaborated with me directly on Lurkit, mainly due to our shared interest with Star Fox 64. I asked him directly about his experience as a solo developer, and he openly shared some similar frustrations and opinions. We can present his thoughts as he expressed them, with all of his own views, so here he is.
Coming from a small game dev perspective, Lurkit has literally one thing going for it. They are one of, if not the only key distributor without a monthly subscription fee. Most sites make you pay to have your offer visible on their site, like they give you a link to your game campaign, but creators can't find your project natively through the site. It's kind of weird, I know. With Lurkit, though, I make a free campaign, and it gets posted on their site as a quest, and creators make their offers and bids to get sponsored. Then I get to wait and watch the creator completely break my game on livestream. It's a good time. It's a good time. What's not a good time, though, is Lurkit's interface. Their buggy, convoluted interface. I really want to emphasize buggy. I do the whole if I had a nickel joke, but I think it's way more than 2 times that I've had problems with the site. I've literally had creators not get paid and still put out their end of the deal. I've had creators just not get my messages, and then I later find them on a separate message string because the site has 2 places for communication for some reason. I don't know. But my quarrel isn't that Lurkit is buggy and I'm like losing money because of it. Honestly, it's kind of the opposite. Lurkit does everything in its power to make sure I get my money back when these issues happen. Then they punish the creators who are frankly doing me a favor. Like, a creator showcased my game and for some reason I was unable to pay them. I messaged support asking, how do I do this? I need to do this. It's what they deserve. And then their response about a week later was the opposite of everything I was trying to accomplish. They assured me I didn't need to pay them. They didn't submit it on time, so don't worry about it. As if like that was what I was worried about in the first place. So it's a bit hard for me to recommend to anyone. I personally don't appreciate feeling guilty for something I didn't have any control over, but no subscriptions, I guess.
Moving on to the final platform, we have DareDrop. I wanted to end this video on a positive note, so let's focus on something good. New platforms are always emerging. So while some may seem sketchy and offer limited opportunities, there are plenty others that are genuinely striving to enhance communication, transparency, and accessibility for content creators, publishers, and developers all around. DareDrop is hands down my personal favorite distribution platform. There's just no competition. It is incredibly user-friendly and doesn't overwhelm you with a lengthy list of games. Everything and most features function as it should. Each week, developers add new games, but unlike most sites, the site focuses on a select few titles at a time. Additionally, it is still relatively new and has more accessible, low CCV requirements, which I believe will continue to change over time. So if you're worried about being a small content creator, that's perfectly fine because you can have as low as 5 to 20 viewers to request both indie games and AAA games. You don't have to be a huge influencer, and the quality of games is high. The main goal of DareDrop's system is to provide a clear incentive for content creators to play games. Sometimes you might pick up a game you expect that you will enjoy, only to discover that its flaws or issues make it very hard to continue. In contrast, Keymailer or traditional PR emailing lists can provide little motivation when games arrive unsolicited in your inbox, leaving you under no obligation to cover them, as they will not affect your profile score. With DareDrop, it is a first-come, first-served system that relies solely on honesty. This will potentially backfire. By this I mean if you already own a game, you can accept a key and take part in events from that developer. Over time, the system has been updated to prevent creators from claiming duplicate keys specifically for campaigns that have returned to the site. But based on my own testing, the rollout has been rather slow. When keys do run out, the platform tries to restock them, but sometimes they're gone in minutes, just like what you see with scalpers during Pokemon launches or when a new GPU drops. You've got to be fast, and the site even crashes sometimes from the rush of creators all trying to grab their copies all at once. As the platform stated, this first-come, first-served system is not going to change. Sure, it sucks for people who aren't glued to their computers like the rest of us, but the reality is that this platform only has 5 employees, 2 that are handling campaigns, and 3 on the front-end and back-end development. Once your account has been verified and proven to be legit, it's just easier for them to let you claim what you've been greenlit for based on your current stats. This does make it rather hectic. This only happens when there's a big AAA game being launched. The first-come, first-served system has significant limitations. If you claim a game that you already own, you are free to resell the key or give it to a friend. That would be the main concern. Another significant issue is keeping track of your own claimed keys. After completing a task, they are added to a list, but I believe it could use some improvements, as it has always been challenging to navigate and keep track of. DareDrop already sends out emails offering these rewards, so I find this somewhat pointless since I rarely use it on the platform. The system lacks clear functionality, keys can sometimes get out of order, and if you forgot to check off one of the redeemed codes, it can quickly become unmanageable. For developers looking to challenge players or receive in-depth reviews, DareDrop allows you to create a dare and offer a reward. For developers looking to challenge players or receive in-depth reviews, DareDrop allows you to create a dare and offer a reward for it. These rewards can vary from digital assets like soundtracks and wallpapers to physical merchandise, giveaway copies, extra copies of the game, or even full publisher catalogs, which are all in limited supply. Dares can be very easy, such as let your chat decide your build, or raid another streamer playing the game currently, in exchange for a social media shoutout. This does technically cause some conflict with Lurkit, which has a new TOS about targeted raids and embedding on websites, a feature that DareDrop includes. Other dares may be more demanding, such as limited challenges to speedrun a game in under amount of hours or unlock every single achievement, in exchange for $50 or multiple giveaway copies. When these types of dares are time-sensitive, exclusive, and offer meaningful incentives while aligning with the creator's time commitments, it can effectively motivate them to engage more deeply with a game. Even if a game is not good, the dares provide a steady and fair goal to keep players interested. It encourages players to push through the early stages of gameplay that might otherwise cause them to lose interest before the game really reveals its full potential. The DareDrop community is very active and supportive. If you need help with a dare, or if you are looking for tips and tricks for the game that you are playing, there's always somebody willing to assist or even a developer eager to consider your feedback directly through the Discord. After completing dares, content creators receive a questionnaire that is forwarded to developers to help refine its games, or the dares posted on the platform. I cannot confirm the exact number of participants in this process, but for the games I find worth my time and effort, I always respond to its emails. The feedback might include questions about whether the dares were too challenging or if the game's features on DareDrop motivated us to play and recommend it to friends. I can say I really like this format. It's helpful, rewarding, and also very fair. Alec and Zan are always responsive, never negative, and work diligently to enhance the platform in meaningful ways and to provide clear communication. Let's suppose a content creator performs well, completes numerous tasks, and maintains a good rating or a high CCV. In that case, they can gain access to more features and benefits on the platform, such as the ability to review other content creators and to access paid campaigns. These systems help the website manage the overwhelming flow of dares that are manually reviewed while granting additional features that are not accessible to low-view creators like myself. It kinda sounds like free manual labor, which could be frustrating for some small creators, but it's more about lending a hand if you have the time, because it's not mandatory. Assisting the platform could lead to better opportunities in the future, and I'm always happy to help out DareDrop whenever I am not busy. You might ask, why would you waste your time? The answer is simple. DareDrop has always been about creators. It keeps things minimal so more creators can access the campaigns. If you've only got a 5 CCV and you need 20, the platform is designed to help you grow through community support, instead of tossing you aside for not pulling in 100,000 views per stream like a certain platform. This is why I help. I don't have to. I don't expect anything to come out of it, but I do. If a creator plays a game but cannot complete a dare due to a bug or a challenge, as long as they have physically played the game for 30 minutes or more, the account will not receive any negative ratings. I wonder how foolproof this is though. There's nothing really stopping somebody from claiming that they have played the game by streaming somebody else's gameplay footage and then ending the stream prematurely unless they have a face cam, a model, or similar features in-game to differentiate it from others on the site. Additionally, while having a lower view limits the amount of dares that you can request, rejecting a dare that you couldn't complete allows you to accept a different one, which is a considerate feature. The more dares that you complete, the higher your ranking will be on the leaderboard. I could potentially be at the top, but I only participate in the campaigns that I believe I will enjoy. There have been times when I joined just for the dares alone, even if I didn't expect to like the game, and ended up loving it. This is what makes DareDrop so special. It's not just about the games themselves, but also about how it's presented. Regardless of whether if a game turns out to be good or not, the structure is going to encourage you to give it a real shot because you're going to be rewarded for your efforts. Each game is released in small groups or one at a time, ensuring that everybody has an equal opportunity to grab keys and enjoy the games while providing reviews and first impressions. This prevents content creators from feeling overwhelmed, as they have plenty of time to complete both the easier and more challenging tasks before the next cycle of games begins. For developers and publishers who are seeking valuable feedback, this is essential. DareDrop consistently does things right, improving the experience for everybody involved each month with enhanced features and a functional website while maintaining a commitment to accountability. If I could suggest one significant improvement for the site, it would be to enhance the clarity. For example, if a dare is titled "Complete a Full Run," what does that mean? Do we have to win? Do we have to fail? Does it include all of the bosses and endings? It becomes confusing in relation to the game being showcased. It's a very small detail, but unclear wording like this has caused confusion within the community multiple times and impacted how creators approach the challenges. Here we have Hean's opinion.
Offering additional rewards for completing challenges is a unique feature that keeps me coming back. While there are occasional issues with publishers and developers delivering promised physical or monetary incentives, these instances are fortunately rare, and the team has been excellent at resolving them. At times, I wish the more confusing dares were better explained or accompanied by video samples demonstrating how to complete them. The platform is working on this area, but clarity remains a concern. Overall, it is the best site for small streamers due to the low CCV requirement. You will not find a better option anywhere else, at least not yet.
This brings us to the end of our video. I've covered every platform that I wanted to discuss, and if I were to rank them from the best to the worst on my overall experiences and the values that they offer to creators and developers, the order would be as follows. Number 1 is DareDrop. This platform offers a perfect balance of meaningful incentives and valuable feedback for creators and developers. Number 2 would be PR emails. These are the most reliable, even though they can be challenging to maintain at times. Keeping you updated on all of the upcoming and past titles consistently is what keeps me coming back to them. Number 3 is Keymailer. As one of the largest platforms on the market, it is a great place to start. It offers a lot of generous timeframes, but because of its size, developers often need front page visibility to stand out. The site also ends up adding in some game pages that may not eventually be listed, which can lead to some confusion. Number 4 is PressEngine. Perfect for the journalist in you. This platform offers short timeframes and seamless communication between developers and content creators. Number 5 is terminals. The platform is similar to Keymailer. We hope that the design shift over the past year will bring more depth and create new opportunities, but it's still too early to determine its effectiveness. Number 6 is Lurkit. Although it may be larger than ever, internal issues are currently affecting content creators specifically due to all of the fake accounts. A lack of honest transparency over the past 5 years has severely damaged the trust between content creators and publishers. While it remains as one of the highest quality sites for games being offered, that being true AAA titles, it still faces significant challenges, such as all of the resellers, all of the fake accounts, the poor communication, and functionality, and it's seen better days. Number 7 is Rainmaker. While it offers financial referral links, it lacks additional benefits and quality. Number 8 would be Dropeme. This platform relies solely on financial incentives, attracting individuals who may not genuinely be interested in a game, but rather be motivated by the financial gain at the expense of indie developers. And finally, in last place, we have G-Round. Primarily offering AI-generated responses, it suffers from poor English communications from the representatives and also the content creators. From my perspective, it all just felt like a scam and is a complete waste of your time. If it ever reaches out to you, feel free to ignore it. As you already know, I spoke with a handful of representatives about their experiences with each site. I inquired about the positives and the negative aspects, functionality, and other relevant factors. To protect their privacy, I had to keep their feedback redacted and summarized without directly mentioning them. This confidentiality is essential as they are currently working with the websites on active campaigns and again may fear repercussion, which is understandable because upholding these policies is crucial. Here is a summary from Pirate PR.
My preferred order of distributing codes is as follows. First, I will use our own PR emails along with our own forms. Next, I check PressEngine to see if there are any requests from people who are not on my list. After that, I turn over to Keymailer to reach out to anybody who I have not contacted yet. As the release date approaches, I focus on cold call outreach. I start with my list of contacts and then extend my efforts to reach 100 creators via Keymailer. Additionally, I prioritize press outreach on PressEngine to attract the attention from Metacritic and OpenCritic reviewers. I hope my perspective has been helpful from a publisher's point of view.
Here is another quote from Nomad.
Creating posts on Reddit, being involved with subreddits for games that were similar in vibe or style, organic and semi-not organic social media, and making friends and posting progress along the way. So it's kind of like mini devlogs, but in subreddit format, and then commenting and talking to people. When people kind of asked about progress of the game, opening up DMs and talking to people and inviting them to the Discord. That got quite a bit of attention. I found that people that were like really active users tended to be very active and competent in social media.
Here is a short summary from a small streamer known as Feral Feline. I'm going to be reading her response normally instead of using a filter or pitch shifting. For the most part, Lurkit has been a good experience for me. My main complaint is that it rewards this currency for their shop system, but there's never anything there for me to purchase, so I feel like it's pointless. I feel like the platform is a good way to get in touch with some developers as a content creator, specifically for those that make games that you're interested in. When it comes to Keymailer, I love it because they track your content live and you don't have to manually submit things, though sometimes the tracking doesn't work. It offers some communication with developers, though I often join Discords when they are available to chat with the community and devs if they're active in them. DareDrop is an interesting platform in how it handles things, and I've enjoyed it a lot and gotten some nice payouts for in real life merchandise like keys for community giveaways. It's important to note that as a small disabled streamer, I don't make much and these sites all give me a way to get the games that I might not otherwise be able to afford to buy on my own to stream because of my low CCV, so I'm very thankful of this. When it comes to Lurkit and Keymailer, I have noticed that you do need to pay attention as there often is a lot of NFT games and shovelware or games that developers throw together due to bandwagons and calling it a game they've created when it's clearly low effort and copied. As far as emails go, I absolutely love them. It shows that the studio or company sees you even if you are a small streamer, and there is almost always a game that I would be interested in and I might not have heard of otherwise. About 50% of the time, if you say, yeah, I'll stream this game, it will offer keys for giveaways in my experience. It's more personal and direct. I've had a couple of developers tell me they got my email off my Twitch page, and it feels so nice to be noticed. Here we have another redacted 15-year game PR veteran currently working in the indie publishing category with their opinion.
I have a lot of experience using platforms like Woovit and even Lurkit, and more recently, I've been testing other platforms like Keymailer, DareDrop, and PlayerFound. On top of that, we do a lot of our own organic outreach through email and social media. In general, I found that investing in organic creator outreach offers far better value than any form of paid activation. You could easily burn tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars on a few big-name streamers, while a fraction of that spent on well-targeted organic outreach could land you dozens of mid-sized creators who will collectively drive more impact. And unless you're working with AAA budgets, every dollar counts. The less you spend, the more your studio or publisher can take home profit. Every game and budget is different, but the goal is always the same. Spend as little as possible to sell as many copies as you can. The key to any successful creator program is smart targeting. You need to know exactly who your game resonates with and what other games those players are into. If you have tools to help identify creators already playing in those spaces, these are the most valuable. Automation is another major factor. The less time you have to spend manually finding all of these creators, inviting them to your campaigns, and then distributing the keys, the better. These platforms also help cut through the noise of scammers. Anybody who has sent out game keys knows how common it is to get fake requests from people who are impersonating creators to resell keys. In the end, effective organic campaigns are the best long-term play. It's not always obvious which platform will give you the best results, so sometimes you do have to test a few during the same campaign. If that means some overlap, so be it. It's a tough market to break through, especially for indie developers, but be smart with your budget, stay flexible, measure what works, and then double down on the effects that deliver the real impact.
And finally, here is a summary from a redacted influencer manager.
Over the years, I've used various tools to build my list of creators for targeted outreach. Each tool in the market, such as Keymailer, Rainmaker, and Lurkit, has its own unique drawbacks. However, the one common issue I encountered is the imbalance between time investments and output, particularly when trying to expand lists to cover a wide range of game releases. While automation and scalability can help, it often comes at the cost of the direct relationships of creators. I prefer a mixture of emails, Discord, and in-person events. In an industry where jobs are increasingly becoming replaceable, developing your own list of content creators and nurturing those relationships is more beneficial for the involved parties. Although this does require a significant amount of time investment, it is going to ensure that you are at the top of the mind for creators when they encounter a game from your company. Conversely, when creating paid campaigns, you'll know exactly whom to reach out to almost immediately. If you are an influence manager, immerse yourself in the trenches with the creators. Dedicate your time to building up these relationships, and it will pay off throughout your career.
Although I don't often reach out to other content creators aside from the few communities here and there, I didn't receive many willing responses. I have not altered any of these clips or scripts. They remain fully intact to convey their opinions without interference from me, aside from adjusting the structure to be more in line with the video's flow, voiced by me and then pitch shifted. Regarding the affordability, I have limited personal experiences with this, however I know that Lurkit was once one of the cheapest options available. Unfortunately, you often get what you pay for. There's a reason why many publishers have been moving away from it, including creators outside of the surge of the site-wide bans, regardless of their size. It has become more expensive and unprofitable specifically for indie developers as it continues to grow through AAA titles alone. Again, my goal is to inspire others to explore unique games rather than simply adding any title to my ever-growing collection from the past 12 years. This perspective influences how I approach every game that I request, in contrast to those that are sent to me. As a variety streamer and content creator with plenty of time on my hands, I see no issue with my approach. I'll get to it eventually, it's just going to take me some time. It is essential to remember that if you are a content creator and somebody reaches out to you, you have no obligation to cover a game regardless of its quality. However, if you accept a physical request by pressing a button or filling out a form and reaching out, you are expected to follow through. When you make that commitment, it is your responsibility to honor it and adhere to every embargo. Throughout my time as a content creator, I have only messed up an embargo once, and that was for Erebon Shadow Legacy. And guess what? That was entirely my fault due to being unorganized. I apologized profusely and took responsibility for that mistake. Since then, I have been careful to avoid repeating it, as I wouldn't want to lose contact with that publisher. Embargoes exist to create a focused surge of content from creators on a specific day. which helps boost the algorithms and spread awareness of the game, like on its release date or when it has a huge update. If you abide by the rules set forth, things will turn out fine in the end. This video was created to share my personal perspective as a content creator with publishers, developers, and aspiring creators with the help of others. If you have any questions that have not been addressed, I apologize and will respond promptly, as I am highly active and here to help in any way that I can. I hope my insights have been valuable and opened up new opportunities for you and others that you may not have known about. I never asked this, but I would appreciate if you could share this with your publishers, communities, and developers. My goal here was to bring various issues, concerns, and positive insights to the forefront with complete transparency, helping to clarify the best options currently available for you. So thank you for taking the time to review this long project, which examines the perspective of each platform. Until the next big project, I hope to keep you entertained with engaging titles both niche and mainstream through our honest reviews and breakdowns of what makes them work or what makes them fail.